Welcome to Getting to Know You. I'm your host, Eman Tuzman-Eagan, and I'm happy to welcome you to this podcast where we get to know members of the Berkshire Hills Music Academy community better. Today, we would like to welcome Adrienne Salmon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Pleasure. I've known you for a few years, but can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself before we dig into some questions?
Sure. My name is Adrienne Salmon. I am a music therapist. I'm 32 years old. I live in East Hampton with my fiance and our two animals, and I really love my job.
How long have you worked at BHMA?
It will be 6 years this August. August 27th will be 6 years.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Framingham, Massachusetts, so where Connor Thompson grew up. My
Birmingham.
parents now live in Southborough, Massachusetts. And growing up, I never went really further west than Worcester. I used to think that Worcester was Western Massachusetts.
Birmingham, huh?
Framingham.
Framingham. Yeah. I thought you said Birmingham.
No, Framingham, Massachusetts.
Framingham. Oh, near the Boston area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know out that way.
It's where Connor Thompson is from, actually. He's from.
Oh, yeah. And Tori's told me numerous times that you guys your parents live in the same town.
Yeah, my parents live in Southborough now, but I grew up in Framingham, which
but never went south of Worcester?
Yeah, west of Worcester. Yeah, never went west of Worcester until moving here.
How did you end up in Western Massachusetts?
That's a really good question. I actually ended up in Western Massachusetts because of BHMA. I, before that, had been living in New Haven, Connecticut, and found BHMA through a couple of different interesting avenues. One of which was that I saw a documentary about Berkshire Hills while I was in college, but I remember seeing it, and John Libera and Tori were actually in it. I remember seeing it and thinking that's a really cool place, and wow, it looks so pretty out there. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was in New Haven, I was working for this agency, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I was looking around for other jobs, and my dad knew someone that kid had gone to the camp here, I think. And he said, you should reach out to this BHMA. And at the time, Karen Carrera was still there. And she said that they had a good relationship with my college, Berkeley, and that it reminded me that I had seen this documentary, and then I ended up getting the job here at BHMA, and then I moved to Western Massachusetts. So it was kind of a long road.
Where did you pursue your education?
I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. Actually, I transferred into Berklee College of Music in Boston. First, I went to University of Vermont in Burlington, and I was there for 2 years. Yeah, UVA.
Nice.
I was there for 2 years, and then I transferred to Berkeley and graduated from Berkeley.
Nice. So you didn't finish UVM, okay?
No, I was a math major.
Did you finish Berkeley?
Yeah.
You finished? Okay.
Yeah, that's where I got my degree from.
Whoa, math major. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I only know how to do complicated math now. I don't know how to do very simple math. I cannot calculate percentages for tips. I cannot calculate just like your simple basic stuff, but I can do some complex math.
You majored in that at UVM?
Yeah, and then I figured out I didn't want to do that.
So you transferred to music, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, to music therapy.
What is the luckiest thing has ever happened to you?
That's a really big question. Ever in the world? Probably.
It can be hard to answer.
Probably being born.
That's a good one, actually.
It's pretty lucky, right? But other than that, I would say, So when I reached out to Karen Carrera here at BHMA, the Mallory, do you remember Mallory?
Yeah, Mallory Finn. Yeah, I don't know where she's.
Yeah,
I have Facebook friends with her, but I don't know. I don't know where she lives. I think out west somewhere.
I think she's actually in Cambridge. Anyhow, it does that part
That's
doesn't matter. But
irrelevant.
yeah, so I reached out to Karen right when Mallory said that she was leaving. So
Hmm.
usually when you're looking for somewhere to work, you find a job listing online or whatever. They
Yeah.
put job listings out there. But Karen hadn't even put out the music therapy job position yet. I happened to reach out. It was a really good timing. And then also another thing that was really lucky about it was that um, I called and I had left a message for Karen. And a little bit later, my dad asked if I had heard from Karen yet. And I said, no, but I don't even see a job posting. I bet there's not even a job there. And my dad said, you should call back.
Hmm.
So I called back and I got in touch with Karen. And Karen told me that the last couple of numbers of my phone number in the voicemail that I left her got cut off.
Hmm.
So she didn't have my number to call me back. So not only was the job not even posted, but she almost wasn't able to contact me. And if those two things didn't happen, I wouldn't have ended up here at Berkshire Hills and wouldn't have ended up here in Western Massachusetts and wouldn't have ended up with any of what I have going on, which is pretty cool.
Currently, you are the assistant director of music department. Can you tell us about your journey and how about how you got to this point?
Well, I think that the biggest thing to say is I just purely love Berkshire Hills so much. So I love being involved and helpful in all of the ways in which I can be involved and helpful. And I think that helped me get to this point because I am just kind of willing to do whatever makes the department most successful.
You're also the music therapy internship director. Can you tell us about that, and also tell us what tell us about what music therapy is?
Ooh, that's a big question. So I'll start with a little bit of what music therapy is, and then I'll go into the internship director part of the question. But so music therapy is using music clinically to address non-musical goals. So you and I can sit here and say, "Oh, I love music and it makes me feel awesome."
Hmm.
But when you get deeper into what about it makes you feel awesome and how can you use that to help better your life overall and make you more independent, and that kind of can go under a lot of different umbrellas. I know that you did MHS, and in
Yep.
MHS, people go to nursing homes and put on music programs for older adults.
Yes.
Now, I have a lot of friends in the field who work in older adult homes,
Hmm.
and for music therapy with older adults, that helps with memory, that older adults get Alzheimer's and dementia. Um, music music can bypass areas in the brain that are damaged from Alzheimer's or dementia and
Hmm.
can access areas of your brain where that are very alive still. Um, so older adults that may forget certain things when they hear a song, they might remember an event in their life around that song. And so those of us who go into MHS can help stir that in older adults. Um, there also music can work with speech and diction. A lot of people who have brain injuries, whether it's a stroke or encephalitis, um, relearn how to talk by using music. Again, because music works with what is known as your brain's natural neuroplasticity, which has the word plastic in there, basically means that your brain can kind of fix itself, find new pathways to fix itself. And music bypasses areas of the brain that are damaged to access the areas that are doing well. So people who have a brain injury, whether it's a stroke, as I said, like if they're bleeding in a certain area of their brain, or they had a brain injury, or they had an illness that injured their brain, music can help folks relearn how to talk and walk, thinking of beat pattern and how that can correspond to steps. Um, again, this is a really long question, and I've given a lot of different examples, but music therapy is hard to give one specific instance in which it works because it works in so many different areas. Um, Here at Berkshire Hills, I like to use music for a lot of different tricks, I guess. It Music is a really sneaky way to get everyone to interact with each other in a way that feels good. And sometimes interacting with other people can be something that is hard to do in a conversation or hanging out, but playing music together really helps connect people in a social way that I think is very important.
Mm.
And so the music therapy, as a music therapy director, the music therapy internship director, everyone who becomes a music therapist has to do a certain number of hours in what's called a practicum setting. So they're in school at that time and spending 1 to 2 hours a week doing music therapy in
Mm.
some setting. And then after you graduate, you have to do a certain number of hours of an internship. So someone joins into the music department, and they'll work in MHS, they'll work in some individual lessons, and that will fulfill some hours that they're required to do before they sit for their board certifying exam.
Mm.
So I try to make that a very successful environment because my internship supervisors when I was doing mine were kind of careless, and
Mm.
I try to be very caring.
Mm. It's a good thing, good skill.
Hmm.
This is one of my favorite questions. What drew you to working with adults with disabilities? That's probably my favorite question in the whole group, in the whole bunch.
That is a really interesting question, actually. I thought I would work with children forever. Since I was young, I've always worked with kids. I was, babysitting from the time I was like old enough to be left alone with kids. And
Mm.
um, I worked in pools and waterfronts and yada yada. I
Nice.
always thought I would work with kids.
Mm.
And then when I was done, so my internship was with older adults with disabilities.
Like
So
older adults, like
yeah, like
older than us.
yeah, I think the youngest person there was above 50.
Oh, okay.
But I'd say between the ages of like 50 and maybe 85 or
Oh,
so.
wow.
Yeah. So that was my internship. It was in Connecticut, and then when I was done with that, and I liked that internship a lot. I really did, even though I could have my supervisors could have been a little bit more into what they were doing. Like
Yeah.
they would go and get their hair cut in the middle of the day, which is just kind of
Yeah,
inappropriate.
that's kind of odd.
Yeah, so I really liked that setting.
Yep.
And then when I was done, I worked for this agency, which basically means that you have a caseload. So I had lots of people that I saw throughout the week, and I worked with anyone from the ages of an infant to like hospice and end of life care, so people in
Wow.
their 90s. And
Whoa.
but a lot of my time was spent in preschools and elementary schools, and it got to the point where I was like, if I have to play the wheels on the frickin' bus one more time, I'm just gonna drive my car off of a bridge.
Mm.
And so I just couldn't,
Yeah.
I wanted to I wanted to be a little bit more dynamic in my music, and I
Mhm.
wanted to be doing a little bit more than just like the shaky egg. It became a lot of just repetitive stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to be challenged a little bit more, and I wanted to be more involved. So
Mm.
that kind of what drew me towards working with adults.
What is something that people are obsessed with you but just don't get the point of?
Let It Go from Frozen. I don't get it. The
But
entire Frozen movie, I saw it. I didn't like it. I
didn't
really
follow-
wanted to like it.
you didn't get it.
Not that I didn't get it. I just was like, this is what's captivated all of America. Like out of every movie
Mm.
around, this is it. So
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
That's a really hard question for me. I
Yeah,
I
Ben can't even answer that.
I used to say that it would be flight, but then someone pointed out, why would you bother flying if you could just have teleportation and
Mm,
save yourself the time?
yeah.
And that was a really good point to me. However, I do think it would be fun to fly and see everything.
Hmm.
So, I don't know. I think teleportation though.
What instruments do you play? I think you told me one. I think you told me you play
I
guitar. I've seen you
sing.
play guitar.
I do. I sing and I play guitar. I am learning mandolin. Joel Turcott has taught me a little bit of drum set, and I can
Nice.
play bad piano.
You play bad piano?
Yeah, I don't play good piano. I play bad piano.
Hey, at least you can admit that out front.
Yeah.
Oh, if you could play alongside any musician, dead or alive, who would it be?
I probably know one because I'm too scared. Everyone is so good, and I feel, but you know something? I get to play with Andy Anderson, Brianna Resnick, and Jacob Bernstein on a regular basis, and they make me a better musician.
Well, that's the first person that answered that question that said no famous artist.
Yeah, everyone else that, every famous artist, I would just rather let them be really awesome in my mind. That for me, I would rather see a lot of
Yep.
artists live than play with them.
Yeah, my friend said the same thing to me. He's like, "So maybe we should turn the tables." And then he goes, "Well, we already know what E-Man's answer would be to that one."
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yep. They said we don't need to even answer. We don't need to ask him that. We know his answer. I believe you are a big fan of fish. Can you tell us how
Yes.
you got into them and the culture?
Well, I when I was in day camp when I was younger, the counselors, when I was one of the first overnights that I remember, you were there mostly during the day, and every, I don't know, like certain amount of weeks, you would have an overnight where you would stay overnight there in the tent. And my counselors were listening to Fish, and I really liked it. They were listening to the CD, the Picture of Nectar, and I thought
Hmm,
it was really cool.
cool.
And then I was younger. I was probably around 7 or so. I know it was probably around the third grade when I first heard them.
Hmm,
And then they broke up in 2004. Um, and I was in high school, and I was really upset. At that time, I wasn't really allowed to go to concerts by myself yet.
hmm.
And so there was no way my parents were going to let me go to a Fish concert. So I didn't get to go to their farewell tour. And I totally thought that I would never get to see them in my lifetime. And then they got back together in 2009, and they've
Whoa.
been back together since. And so I started seeing them in 2009, and now I've been to 50 shows.
Yeah, their guitarist went to UVM.
Yes, yep. They so did their bass player. Their bassist is from Sudbury, Massachusetts.
Yeah, we remember. Yeah, he went to school out the pool you talked about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He went to the guy. He went to Sudbury High or something.
He did. He went to Sudbury High, and then also his Lincoln Sudbury, I think. And I'm not sure which high school he went to, but I know that his band played at like the Sudbury Rec League, and he was in the Sudbury Parks and Rec because they had his card, his like Parks and Rec card at the pool I used to work
Nice.
at, and all these band, like his eighth grade band posters and stuff.
Yeah, he's from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite joke?
I have a couple, but I prefer just hearing a lot of jokes. I do really like, Ben and I were actually talking about this one the other day. The Mitch Hedberg says about when escalators are broken down, and they always say, pardon the inconvenience, but Mitch Hedberg says it should just say temporarily stairs, pardon the convenience. And I think that's really funny.
Hmm.
I do like that joke.
Have you ever made a mistake at a performance, and what did you do in that situation? Now Ben can attest to that.
I have made a lot of mistakes in performances, and I've done a couple of different things in this situation. Old Adrienne would cry all the way home and say, I'm never performing again. But new Adrienne kind of shrugs it off. I used to just really think I was a horrible musician until I started playing music with with Brianna, Andy, and Jacob. Um, there was one gig in August of 2019 at a burger night at Barstow's, and
I think
we were.
I think you went. Was it the band that you guys were in together?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Uh,
I can't think of the name of it. You and Jacob and Brianna.
and Andy, yeah, Andy actually was not at this particular show that I was talking about. We were
It was the
missing one.
band that you guys formed. I went to see that.
Yeah, yeah, we played at a couple of burger nights at Barstow's, but this one burger night we were playing, and we had kind of decided, so we have a binder of all of the lyrics and chords, and we were trying to see how much we could go without it.
Yeah,
And
my memory. Yeah.
so we were doing the Tennessee Waltz, which is a really old song,
Mm.
and people were singing along in the audience, and I sing lead on that song. And in my head, as I was singing, I realized I was like, okay, all of these people know the words, so you better not screw it up. You better remember them. And so, of course, when you tell yourself you better not screw it up, you screw it up, right?
Mm.
And I forgot all the words, like my mind went entirely blank. And I just had to make sounds.
Mhm.
I was singing, and I just kind of made vowel sounds like e, and
Mm.
I like knew everyone knew, but no one who was at that show remembers this big flub.
Yeah.
And so that I made a huge mistake forgetting all of the words. And in that situation, I just made noises. And what it taught me is no one's really listening to you play anyways. Like
No.
they are, but no one's judging by how good it is.
Mm.
They're just enjoying the music experience. So
Yeah. At one point, you should have Ben tell you the time he missed his entrance.
I think what you should do when you're making a mistake at a performance is, and this is what I teach people who I teach lessons to, like make it big, make it seem like you meant to do it,
Yep.
and then everyone will believe it,
Do you have a favorite piece of music to play on a certain instrument and why?
I really like when our band plays the cover of the Cantina Band from Star Wars. It's
Mm.
so much fun. I like playing it on the mandolin because I get to the mandolin's a cool little instrument. You kind of get to chuck on it, so you kind of tick it, tick it, tick it. And Brianna plays the fiddle so well in that song. It's just so much fun.
How often do you practice your instruments or practice singing?
Yikes. Not as often as I should, and not as often as I instruct people to do.
And by singing, I don't mean making vowel noises.
I
I meant actual singing, not
Yeah,
sounding out the AEIOU.
I not as much as I should, but I do go through periods of time where I do play a lot of music and practice often, and then I go through periods of time where I don't practice as often. So it's kind of it. I should practice a little bit more, but I sing in my car all the time. Doesn't that count as
I
practice?
sing in the shower.
I don't sing in the shower, but I sing in the car.
I only sing in the shower. I don't sing in public. I don't like. I never sing in public ever.
That is actual baloney. I've heard you sing in public many times.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I've been forced to sing in public. That's why I prefer to
Literally,
sing in the shower when no one's around.
okay. No one forces you.
What do you like to do in your free time? Might be hard to answer, but
It's actually that one's an easy one to answer. I like to do a lot of stuff in my free time. I'll go season by season. In
ooh,
the summer, I love gardening. I love hiking, running, biking, and rollerblading. In the fall, I like all of those things also. In the winter, I like to snowshoe and cross country ski and bike, and I don't get to run as much. Um, but I also love lap swimming. I get to do that in the winter is when I mostly do that.
Oh, what do you do? Like a bit indoor pool?
I go to the YMCA in Holyoke. I
Oh,
love it.
nice.
And I like to do yoga. I mostly do it on my own time.
Oh, cool.
I love to go for walks with my dog. I love to spend time with my friends. When I spend time with my friends, it's mostly doing active things like roller skating or biking or
Yeah,
hiking.
not work related.
No, not really. And I love playing music with my friends.
Do you guys have like a gig coming up, that band?
We do. We
That
have.
band's still around, like still in like in like I was gonna say not in, I was gonna say incapacitated, but that's just wrong. That's like if you're in a
That's
hospital.
the opposite of what
In
you're
the
asking.
hospital, you're knocked out, you're incapacitated.
Exactly. Yes, we are still in action. We did take, a hiatus while COVID was really
Yeah,
raging.
yeah, a lot of people, a lot of musicians did that.
But then, we are really lucky because, we all work together here at BHMA, so we all got vaccinated at the same time,
Yep.
and we all got our second vaccines at the same time. And so once we were fully vaccinated, we were able to start playing music together again. And gosh, I mean, it really, not that we never, not that we ever didn't appreciate playing music together. I think we've always, the four of us and our bassist, Jack, who is a music teacher in Framingham, but he's a good friend of ours.
Well, your bassist is not part of Berkshire Hills.
No, his name is Jack, and he is a music teacher in Framingham, actually.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Band's bassist, huh? That's cool.
yeah, he's great. But we've always appreciated playing music together. We've always been very, very excited to play music together and have always known that it was really great to play music together. There's never been a time that we haven't appreciated that.
Yep.
But I will say that once we all got vaccinated, after not getting to play music together for over a year, we really appreciate it even more. Like we have extra super fun playing together now that
When's the next gig?
the next gig is in August, on August 8th
Oh, where?
yeah,
Nice. Where is it?
in Bernardston at Hitchcock Brewery.
Okay, I don't. Oh, okay.
I've never been there
I
either.
don't
It's
know
just there.
exactly. I don't know exactly that way. Yeah, I have. I that my my aunt and uncle are coming to the Berkshires August 9th for a wedding
Nice. From where?
in Philadelphia,
Oh, nice.
and then my sister is flying in August 10th.
Fun. Oh,
New
gosh.
Orleans.
How long has it been since you've seen your sister?
He's good. They're gonna be here for good now. They're moving here.
Your sister?
Yep, they're moving. They're gonna move here. They're gonna move to Massachusetts. They're moving
That's
out.
awesome.
They're flying here. They usually stay for a summer and then go back to New Orleans.
Hmm.
They're here for good.
Has it
Not
been
going back.
has it been since before COVID that you've gotten to see her?
I haven't seen her. I haven't seen my nieces and nephews in I don't know how long.
Well, I'm really glad that
They're
gonna
moving
be
here.
back.
They want to be closer. They're moving here. They want to be closer to my parents.
That's awesome. I'm glad to
So
hear
August
that.
10th, they're going to be out here. So actually, 2 days before your show.
Fun.
If you ever have a show while they're in town, definitely definitely let
Oh,
us
I bet
know.
I bet your dad would be psyched to see
Definitely
that,
let
man.
me know because my dad and sister love the music. Our theme song is "Getting to Know You" by Roger Hammerstein, performed by BHMA community member Franklin Nichols. Editing is done by Ben Rosenthal. Creative direction by me, Eman Tuzman-Eagan, with creative support from Cindy Catuno and my mom. Do you have anything else to mention before we sign off?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime.